Safe meals for your family? Would you like to spend time with others learning tips and tricks, along with practicing and tasting nutritious food? If so, the On the Road to Healthy Living Mobile Cooking School is for you. Call Amy Ressler at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service at 936-539-7825 to find a class near you or volunteer to host a class.
Hey y'all, it's DJ Mike from Dance Time in Texas. Join me Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. as I count down the top 10 Texas Red Dirt songs that are packing the dance floor. I'll be featuring local artists and the story behind the hits, shows in the area, as well as new songs that make you want to dance. It's Dance Time in Texas with DJ Mike on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5 KCZW and 106.1 KZCC, Conroe, Texas, or online, irlonestar.com.
You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on the Cindy Cochran Show. We're so happy to have you, and especially today with our special guest, Chris Wootton, who is our sponsor. And so nobody write anything weird or strange, or anything like that. Everybody be good. And Richard, try and keep it cool and don't say bad words and everything. Sometimes he has all he does, though, I found the perfect person that he's like, and I've got to get clips of it from Tommy Boy. What's his face? Not Chris, but David Spade. David Spade. I mean, David Spade talks to Chris exactly the way he talks to me, and it's just it's great. I had so much fun watching that over again because I said I know there's somebody he reminds me of, and then I started watching and I went, I mean, he has the same expression on his face, none, and then he is just so mean. No, he can be, but he's always foolish, so he's kidding. Yeah. Right, Richard? That's it. That's the look. That's the look.
I'm just making sure everything's up.
Okay. So anyway, Chris, thank you so much for coming over here.
Thanks for having me.
He is the head dude at CEO? Are you CEO? Are you general manager? Are you assistant to Alicia? Or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, president, CEO, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Of Wootten Financial Group. The Wootten Financial Group. I've loved saying your name and trying to spell it all the time. And it's perfect. Because it's got two O's and two T's.
O-N.
It has three O's.
Three O's. Total.
Well,
I know.
It's
letting people
woo,
know.
And then it's separated by two T's.
Two-ton. Also, I really like how you asked if they're the CEO of the company when the company's named after them. Like, tell me a company that has the name after them. Like, he's the guy who works just the 9 to 5.
No, I knew
I want to know.
I didn't want to say head dude because that sounded that was dismissive.
Well, his name's on the wall.
I know. I was just saying, the title that you have, that you hold.
Formal, yeah.
Yes, it's very formal.
In our industry, we would be called a principal.
You're a principal.
Principal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, that and a nickel will get you a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
so.
That's cool. I'm so happy.
We can't really say that anymore because a nickel doesn't buy you much of anything anymore.
No.
Nothing. It's a neat old saying, but that and $2.25 will get you a cup of coffee.
There you go.
We'll put it.
But not at Starbucks.
You can't even buy a coffee at a convenience store anymore for less than $2. It's really ridiculous.
I went. Cindy will only drink Starbucks, and I go, you know what? We have to dumb down your coffee. What you like, what coffee you like. But she says no, but Starbucks knows exactly what to do, and so I went, okay, all right. And she says, only way to get me through school. I said, that's sad. I want 3 shots. I said, 3 shots of what? It's just tell them 3 shots. They'll understand. Yeah. They say, okay. So do you drink coffee?
I only
Yeah. Well, I always like when you go to Starbucks and just order a black cup of coffee, and it's depending on who works there, it's either like a sign of relief, or it's kind of like, wait, oh yeah, we do have that here, and it's like. It's just in this machine that we never use, and then they just drip it in. Like
somewhere in the background, Simple Man starts playing, and you're like,
that's true. I've never asked for
what's funny when Chris made the comment about the convenience store coffee. What's crazy to me is the convenience stores I go to, like get gas. You can get for $1.50 a donut and a coffee, but you can't tell them I don't want a donut. Because I don't really like donuts, so I was like, can I just get the coffee for $1.50? Oh, no, you have to have a donut.
What?
And I'm like, well, I don't want a donut.
that's because they're trying to get rid of their daily
Well,
donuts
I know,
from
but
the
it's like,
previous day.
but like, how it's just so funny to me. It's like, that's company policy. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, you want to see me just throw this donut away after I leave?
Exactly.
Like, what is going on here?
Since we're talking about food, I got to tell you, do you ever go to Sonic?
Occasionally.
Okay, do you like Sonic?
Yeah.
They have got some French fries called queso fries, and I think it just started. I had never seen them before, but the queso fries, and I went, oh yeah, give me that, give me some queso fries. So
Southwest loaded queso fries.
Oh my goodness.
I took a bite of that, and I was like, oh my word, they didn't give you enough fries, so I'm gonna have to go back and get more, but it's so good. I mean, it really is good.
Is it like melted shredded cheese, or is it like the cheese queso, like out of a can cheese?
It's like that kind of queso.
Yeah.
But it's.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah, that looks delightful. Yes.
But mine
I
didn't
can
have any
feel my
jalapeno on there.
arteries clogging as I read it.
Yeah, it's shredded cheddar cheese,
And Tommy Boy,
velvety
David
queso.
Spade says, I can hear you getting fatter.
I can actually hear you getting fatter.
I can actually hear you getting fatter. Oh, but I'm telling you, maybe they don't put as many in there, so they're trying to keep you healthy. So, but it is.
You think they're trying to keep you healthy at Sonic?
Yeah.
They make those
Try not.
decisions.
They don't want you to come back and say you clogged my arteries.
I think they're. I don't know if y'all know who Jim Gaffigan is. He's a stand-up comedian. He's got a whole thing about the Domino's pasta bread bowl. And he swears they're trying to just get people addicted to it, just to make them fat, And they try to sell it like it's some kind of traditional Italian dish, It's like a Mama Domino used to make.
But when you're a certain hungry, and it comes that those ads, you go, I swear, how do they know that I'm so hungry? And those ads start hitting, and they hit. And
Yeah.
so you got to get up.
And they don't just have any fry. They have groovy fries.
Now the groovy fries. I don't
Interesting.
know, what's on?
It's just the rigid fries.
Yeah, the ridged fries.
Well, that's why I thought when I saw queso fries, I thought.
Well,
this
what's
is-
hilarious is that's their new push is the groovy fry. And I'm thinking like they've sold fries like this for 50 years, man. Like, what makes these special?
At the little walk-up burger stands we went to when I was a kid.
Yes, Chuck Wagon.
My dad would take me. There was actually one in the Heights. It's still there. It's fantastic.
A Chuck
all
Wagon?
had those kind of. No, they were just like McDonald's started out. You walked
Yes,
up to
that's
a
right.
window,
Right.
parked in a parking lot adjacent, walked
Yeah.
up to the window and ordered. And they always have the best hamburgers, probably because the grills have been there for 50 years and they're nice and seasoned.
seasoned.
But all of their fries were like that. They didn't have like the straight ridgeless fries
Yeah.
like McDonald's has now, which is kind of interesting. But
Well, one of Samantha's friends started working at McDonald's. She said, I got to tell you something. I got a trick for you. When you go up there, say, I'm sorry, but I have to have the newest fries that y'all dropped. I have to have those because I can't have any salt on them. And she says, they never listen to you. In fact, they do more because you're telling them what to do. It makes them mad. And I watched every one of them do that. They go, oh, you don't have, oh, and they start talking to themselves while they drop the fries and they come out and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I hope this doesn't hurt your whatever it is.
That's because they're trained in a system, especially like McDonald's. The whole thing is a system, step by step by step, and they're trained on you don't skip the step because then it breaks the process, right?
Right.
And it messes up their system. So, yeah.
I walked
That's
into
how they got as big and
I'm like
successful as they are.
That's why when you
Queen
order
of
no
fast
onions,
foods.
you get onions.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And be sure and don't put because when I go get a hot dog at Sonic, they got the best hot dogs, I think.
Yeah.
And I say, let me have the Coney everything on it, and I want mustard. Please put the mustard on. Don't give me a little packet on the side. I want mustard on it already, please. Thank you so much. And then as many of those little onions you can get on are just fine. I love the onions on it. As they come out in this thing, it's never what you, I mean, not most of the time, not the same thing that you ask for, but they love to do a lot of the onions, and they just like, the guy goes, okay, you want some onions? We're going to give you some
We're gonna
onions.
pile on.
You're going to be so sorry you asked for this. But anyway, that I just want to tell everybody, because we want to try and do, very important, in-depth announcements for our viewers. And so go to Sonic and ask for the queso fries. And it'll be great. But that's why you're
They're
here.
still in her car. She's still snacking. That's how Cindy approves food. It's like, let's see if this three-day-old Sonic in the back seat's still good.
Yeah, when my car was stolen, I felt so bad because my car. I mean, I used it as with Warner doing stuff, shooting and production and stuff, and so did the guys. And he says, "Where do you want me to put this?" And I go, "Just." And so everybody just threw all their stuff in the back, and I had like every fast food there if there was.
Yummy.
And so, I'm just going because all my Johnny Carson pictures that I had were in a suitcase in there that I'd never taken out, and so I thought this is going to be great. I just can't believe somebody stole that car. What were they thinking? And so the police called me and said, we found your car. And I went, oh, he says, but somebody, they just ravaged it. I mean, they have just ruined your car. And I said, what are you talking about? She says, there's stuff all over that car and it smells so bad. I went, oh my goodness, I guess I'm going to have to take it by someplace and get it cleaned. I said, I don't know if it'll clean, lady. I just don't know. And I had to go and open the door. And they said, we found a thing and it had 2 pictures of you with Johnny Carson. And so I said, well, let me tell you about that story. No, but anyway, I said, well, I'm glad they left me 2 of them. There was a bunch of pictures in there, but they left 2 in there. And I don't know what they thought they were going to do with them. But anyway, I had to go and stand there and look at it and go like, good grief, what had they done? And they said, how long have they had this? And I said, since yesterday. And they looked at all the stuff. And they went, they did all this in 24 hours? Oh, my word. And so they started looking at me with an unbelieving eye. I think you did this, lady. But those places are they have those shows about people that had their cars towed and they have to go back and try and get them and stuff. Yeah. And they have that glass and you have to speak through the thing. And you see why, because they get mad. People get so mad and they come in there and the person behind it doesn't try to de-escalate anything.
Oh, no.
Oh, shut up. Just shut up. You shouldn't have done that. They haven't had that training yet. Like they should
So we
have.
got your car. What are you going to do?
Now, what are you going to do about it? Though you can try and get through
Pay
this
up,
glass.
you can have your car.
Go, hey, Rocky, come here. We got somebody to tell you to talk to.
That's why I like repo guys, because they always try to dress up like policemen. And you're like, because I've witnessed that before. Like people are yelling, and I'm like, is that the police? That's not a police officer, is it? He's wearing the vest, but it didn't. It just says like repo on it. Like they took off the Velcro badge, put repo. So it's like, I guess you could argue with that guy. Like, what's he gonna do?
It's probably bulletproof. Probably not a bad idea in that line of work.
Oh, yeah, no, I get it. It's just like they just dress up like officers. It's kind of weird to me. It's like, are there cops taking this guy's car?
I didn't think you could do that. I know they have that show where the guys go in and they're trying to find somebody. Who are those guys that?
You mean bounty hunters?
Oh,
Bounty hunters. Yeah. I love those shows. Yeah. I love those shows because the grandma comes out first and starts, yelling at the guys. Said, he's not here. He's not. I know he's not here. So y'all just go on. You don't have, and just get so mad at those guys for doing that. And they go in there and they find him in the worst places. It's just, it's gross. It's not as gross as
They should have hidden your car.
Huh?
That's where they should have hid.
Hidden
in your back seat with all the trash.
Underneath.
No one would know. Just keep throwing it back there, guys. I haven't touched that in years.
No, I just think they probably jumped in, got it started, and took off, and then went, "What's that smell?" And they go, "Oh my!"
You know what's wild about that is my cousin, when we lived in Houston, got his car broken into, and he's one of those guys. He was a researcher, so he had papers everywhere. And he's like, he comes into the house. He's like, man, my car got broken into last night. And I was like, oh, did they take anything? He goes, oddly enough, no. Because like my iPad's still in there, my headphones are still in there, my computer's still in there. I was like, but I don't think they could find it because there's so much trash, all these papers everywhere. He's like, they threw the papers even worse than I did, and like all my stuff was right there.
Wow.
Do you know where Leewood is? Have you ever heard of Leewood in Bel Air?
I don't think so.
In that area. Oh, we lived in the house out there, and my dad had bought me a Volkswagen before I got married, but I kept the Volkswagen, and I put the key in and never took it out because I just didn't think anybody was going to take my car, for goodness sakes. So one night I came out the next morning and noticed, wait a minute, that's Sam's car. Where is my car? Where did my car go? Who took my car? And I went there and asked, did you take my car? He said, I wouldn't get in that car. No, I didn't take your car. So I look at this. You know what, though? It was empty. I don't know how far they could have gotten because I didn't have much gas in there. And so we drove down there was sitting in the middle of the thing, both doors open, and the bottom pulled out. They had tried to hotwire it and had the key in it the whole time. And I said, oh, and he couldn't believe it. He said, let's just junk this and you got to get a new car. I said, I promise I didn't do this for a new car. This was my favorite car. It was a 67 Volkswagen. They just don't make those anymore.
I've only got, I think I've had two trucks stolen. The first one I was in college, and I had gone downtown, and I had parked between, I think it was the Met and the old church that's there.
Uh-huh.
And I had parked on that side street,
yeah.
Gone inside the Met to play, and came out, my truck was gone, right? This is a week before my college finals for my last year in college. And I had my backpack with all my books and all my notes in my truck.
No.
So I had to scramble the last week of finals, and I went to all my professors. They said, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
So I had to scramble and basically gather notes from all my friends, to study for the finals in every class. And then right as I'm getting ready to take the finals, they find my truck. They had tore the inside of it up.
Oh,
really bad, but the backpack was surprisingly intact. They had opened it, and then when they realized it was just nothing but school material, they were like, that's what I get for leaving it in my truck. The second time, my wife and I were living at like Yale and I-10 there in the Heights.
Right. And
I would go down Yale and then go up into downtown on, Allen Parkway, into downtown. And my truck gets stolen, and it's missing. We can't, police can't find it. It's been a week. My wife has taken me back and forth to work in the morning. And we're driving past Star Pizza, which used to be at Yale and Washington. Okay.
Yes.
My wife
know
has
what
taken me to
you're
work,
talking about.
and as we drive by Star Pizza, I look over into Star Pizza's parking lot, and my truck is literally sitting in the parking lot. And I go, pull over, hang a right. She pulls over, and sure enough, man, it was my truck. And I called the police, and I was like, hey, you know that truck you're looking for? I found it. Come on, man.
How did you know it was yours?
You couldn't have missed it. It was a very.
Do you have a
bright-
Wootten financial?
No, this was
your face was on the
this
back?
was 30 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a very bright green truck, Chevy truck with ground effects and all kind. They were back then.
Well, see, that's more unique than with like the standard. Oh, look, my black Toyota Camry got stolen. Ooh, man, that's gonna be tough to find that one.
You couldn't miss the aqua green truck.
Yeah.
That was mine. Yeah, for sure.
Well, at least your truck looked different than where you could even find it.
Yeah.
Did you just go up or just call the police to come and get
I
it?
walked up. I looked inside of it because there were a couple of things inside, electronic-wise, that if they were still there, I could tell right away for sure, even if it was an identical truck. But I had very unique custom rims. Amazingly, those were still on it. They didn't take those, which I couldn't believe.
They weren't expecting you to eat at Star Pizza.
yeah.
Could pass by Star Pizza.
And I don't know what made them. I don't know if maybe they'd just been joyriding the whole week and decided, okay, we ran out of gas, so we're going to leave it here.
Did you go in and see if anybody was there that looked
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that?
we had to talk to Star and their employees, and the police came and did their normal thing. But yeah, that was it. It just
Oh, my
went to get
word.
repaired and back in custody.
That is, well, I'm so sick of all the cars looking exactly alike. I'm sick of it because I'm not that good at remembering where I parked my car.
Mm-hmm.
And so now what I do is I have to stand at the front of the store, and I take that button and push the back
panic.
trunk come up. And so, and somebody will be walking by, and that trunk goes like that. And they go like, what? But it's so perfect because I couldn't. The horn wouldn't keep. It's supposed to. You're supposed to hold down, and it'll alarm you. And I couldn't do it. And I took it to Keating, and they go, "You mean like this?" And he goes, "Dee, dee, dee." And I went, "Oh man." I said, but what about starting the car outside in your home? You can start the car by pushing. And they went, well, now there's where you may not have been told this, is because your salesman in there may not have taken the time to tell you, but you have to go lock, and then push that down, hold it down. And I went, really? Are you sure? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, lock, ding. And the car starts up. And I went, that is so great because I need to have a start. That's so happy. I have not started. I cannot start.
It's funny you say that because you know how I got a new car, and that's part of the option. And I'm like, the guy was like, yeah, you just do lock this. I'm like, I'm never gonna push that while going to my car. Like, I'm never gonna push a lock. If I'm not gonna remember that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the most. I was like, I don't even care. Like, I don't.
But everything.
I don't know why it would be
everything
lock. I mean that.
They just make stuff way more complicated than
Yeah.
it has to be. When I was looking for the truck that I have now, I first looked at a Tahoe, and this was in 2020. Okay, and so they were already in short supply, and they had a really pretty one that came on the lot here at not Buckaloo. What's the other place there? The GMC place. Anyways.
Gullo?
No, the
One
one here in
Gullo?
Conroe. I can't remember. But anyways, so I asked the sales guy if I can take a look inside this thing. And he's like, yeah, man, we can take it for a spin, And so I'm sitting in the driver's seat of this thing, and everything is electronic. There's no steering columns anymore.
Nope.
There's no. And so I'm looking, not steering column, but your gear shifter thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there. He'd given me the key. He started it for me. Push button start. I hate. Okay, but everything has it now. And he walks away to deal with this other couple. He said, just take it down this street, bring it back, And I'm like, okay. I sat there. My daughter's in the car with me. I sat there for 5 minutes. I could not figure out how to get this car into gear.
Yeah.
they had all these buttons like
Yeah.
up on the you know, where your speedometer and everything is. And I could see, you know, park, drive, all these things. And I'm pushing these buttons and nothing pushes, nothing's working. And so I'm like, man, maybe I need to hold it. So I would push it and hold it like an idiot. And I never could figure it out. So finally I rolled the window down and I called the guy's name and he comes over and I was like, look, man, I feel like a total moron. I said, I don't know how to get this thing into gear. He reaches over and like the drive button, instead of pushing it, you reach under it and pull it towards you. Immediately into gear. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I've sat here for 5 minutes like an imbecile.
Well, it's kind of strange the decisions they make for that kind of stuff, because like the push button start, what's strange is, you know how when you had a turn key, you could halfway turn it?
Yeah.
Well, they still have that option, but it's, if you like, in my car, if you don't push the brake and you hit the power button, it does it.
Okay.
But a lot of times when I get in the car and I start it, I don't time it right.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there going like, why isn't my car going into drive? Oh, it's broken.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't really give you any indication that it's halfway turned. And I'm like, what's my car? Like, I just got this. And then what it is, like, there's a little symbol, it has a battery, and it's red.
Huh.
And I'm like, that's not good. And that's what it's supposed to indicate. It's just running off battery, which is the halfway turn position.
You know, that's interesting because that totally answers. My wife has a hybrid.
Yeah, mine's a hybrid too.
Okay. So if you push the start button once, I mean, on my truck, you push it once, it starts the vehicle, right? Well, hers, like when she comes home and pulls in the driveway, I don't hear her come in except for the garage door because it's in electric mode.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes no noise.
Oh,
right?
that's
It's like the ninja of vehicles.
It's awesome.
You know?
weird.
And so if you push the button once, all you hear is like a hum, but it doesn't really start the vehicle. You have to hold the start button, and then the engine will engage and crank up. And if you don't move for a while, it'll go into electric mode, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's just so confusing.
Well, my other favorite thing with the hybrid is there's so many drive modes now.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Normal.
Well, there's normal, sport, and like mine, there's towing
Snow.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, snow.
But then my favorite is the eco mode.
Yes.
Because in my mind, I go, isn't this supposed to be an eco truck? Like, it's hybrid. So why would it not start an eco? And then I say, hey, I got some stuff in the back. I'm going to go to like towing mode.
Right.
Or something. That blows my mind. And because it won't, and you can't tell it, hey, so when I start the car, I always start an eco.
Huh.
You have to like turn the knob, find it, all right, engage it. And I'm like, I'm not doing that every time I get in the car.
Well, that's like mine. It has the little button for the auto on-off thing. Like when you pull up to a red light, it kills the engine. That is the most irritating. I have tried to figure out if there's a
You got to
fuse
push a
for
button. Yeah, you always have to push the button when you start.
it. Yes, you have to turn it off every time you start the car. It's
Yeah.
irritating because I hate it. When I'm sitting at a red light, when it turns green, I want to go. I don't want to
Yeah.
let off the brake, wait for it to start, you know.
Well, another wild one that like I discovered last week was there's a button I can push where I don't have to hold the brake when I'm sitting at a light.
Yeah.
But see, if you leave it on and you're driving, I tested this when we were in the parking lot, because if you just coast and then your car, like it thinks it stopped, it'll push the brake for you. So without me touching anything, and so you're like, it'll jerk you.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when you want to start, you actually have to hit the pedal pretty hard to get, and then you have that jump start.
Yeah.
And now my friends found this out. So every time I get in the car with them, they push it. And I don't know. And I'm like, why isn't this thing? And I'm like, oh gosh, like that. They turn this crap on, and because I always right before they leave, thanks for taking me, man. And they just hit it and they walk off, and it gets me every time.
Nice.
Those are your friends. But
At least they're not putting my car in neutral like we used to in high school. That was like when you had the gear shifter.
Yeah.
That was an ongoing joke. Like you get distracted, you lean over and just hit it in
Hit it in
neutral.
neutral.
And that's when you're like you're revving the engine.
But the thing that I was talking about irritates me is that every CRV, RVS, or whatever they look alike. They all look alike, and everybody wanted black, and everybody wanted. So, and I stand at the parking lot and go, Or when I'm coming out, picking up something to eat, and come out and go like, okay, and go and open the door, and somebody's sitting in the car, and this guy looked at me and went, "It's my car, it's my car," and I went, "Oh, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry because it looks just like mine. That's my car over there, but it looks just like mine." He says, "I know. It's my car." I don't know what he thought I was going to do. I'm holding all these pieces and everything, and then I go and a guy comes up behind me as I'm trying to get into the car, and I keep pushing the button for it to go. It's not doing it, and he says, "This is my car," and I went, "Oh, it's your car." Okay, well, I didn't know because it looks just like my car, and I have the same kind of car, and I hate these cars. And he says, I know, it happens all the time,
Yeah.
So that's why I started just pushing the back up, and I go like, nobody else would would have the back open and just sitting there. And so it's perfect. But it's dangerous because, somebody could be sitting there and you get in and go, okay, let's go. And then take off with me. No, they wouldn't do that. But I wouldn't be so lucky. Okay, but anyway, okay, Chris, I know that, so far it sounds like Random Thoughts with Chris Wootton. And
That's all right.
But
it's nice to get away from
having to deal with
the
numbers.
office minutia sometimes.
Right. And all the people that you have to take care of. Like me.
Well, his name's on the wall, so he's got to be the one who calls everybody.
And everybody calls him. Everybody needs to call him. I tell him all the time, call you, that you'll be so sweet, and you'll kick the tires with them. I didn't know what that had to do with money, but you're going to kick the tires with them and in a meeting, and they don't have to pay for it. Is that right?
Yeah. The initial consultation and all that, we don't
It's
charge
free.
anything for that. Yeah.
Yeah, free.
I have a question for Chris.
Go ahead.
So I was thinking about what you guys do with the financial planning and things like that. So when you do sign on, how does it technically work in a sense of, does somebody write you a check, or is it like, hey, we created this bank account for our partnership or whatever you want to call it, and then that's where everything goes? Or how does it actually work? Because you basically financial plan all sorts of areas, like, but it's like, do I just give you a check or?
Well, so there's a couple of different ways we can bill, right? One side of it is we manage investments, and we've got a very unique investment philosophy in terms of how we manage risk. Okay. Matter of fact, I am the only firm in the Houston area that has access to this type of risk management. Okay. So it's not something you can go in anywhere and just have that type of, protective risk management approach like we do. And it's kind of what we're known for. It's what makes people attractive or attracted to us. So, but on that side, it's a fee. So we'll charge a fee of some amount based on the amount of money we're managing.
No, I know. I understand how you get paid, but it's like
that comes directly out of your account.
Okay.
If we're doing financial planning, let's say you had no investments to manage, that's you write a check to the firm or pay that way.
Say I'm a newlywed and I'm like, hey, we want to do financial planning for our retirement.
Yeah.
And this is how much money we have in our bank account right now. And you say, okay, well, let me look over everything. All right, yeah. So we need like a starting fee, or you need to start with about $50,000, say, out of their budget.
Okay.
So I just give you $50,000.
It depends on the situation, but yeah, you could do that. I mean, we could open an account, you fund it with $50,000.
Okay, that's what I was wondering how.
That $50,000 though would be billed on a fee basis. And depending on how much money we're managing, sometimes we'll charge a financial planning fee. Financial planning fees are completely separate from investment management.
Okay.
And it's kind of like an attorney bills time. Okay. I could charge you an hourly rate, but normally it's going to be cheaper and more in the best interest of the client to just pay like a flat annual fee, because if we get into doing planning and it ends up being a lot of hours, because of what we bill by the hour, it gets very expensive very quickly. Okay. So it's normally better. We'll charge, we have a flat fee range depending on the complexity of the estate and how much time we think we're going to have in it. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, but it balances out and has for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, if you've got, let's say, cash in the bank, you're not sure what to do with it, you want to talk about investing it. Yeah, I mean, we can open up a brokerage account and manage that in a portfolio type of deal.
Because I was like, you don't just go, here's my password.
No.
Here you go, Chris.
Yeah.
Go at it. Go. I could sign in and change
Yeah.
up some stuff too. Hey, Chris, just so you know, I changed to this. I moved this.
No, I mean, it would be against the law for us. We can't know your passwords.
See, I didn't know that. That's why I was curious.
We can't keep your passwords. We can't do any of that. Matter of fact, we never touch your money.
Really?
Most of the time, it's a direct transfer from your bank by ACH into your account that you sign documentation for. You open the account. Like for us, we manage it at Charles Schwab.
Yeah.
But it could be Fidelity. It could be anywhere.
Okay.
We help you open an account there. All the custodian does for us, meaning our firm, is what they call custody the assets. They provide a platform where we can manage it, trade it, and watch over it for the client. But that account that's open there is your account. It's
yeah, so that's
your
why I was
name.
curious.
Yeah.
It's just because it's one of I know a lot of people have fear of losing their money, and it's like, how do you have that trust initially with a company like what you do?
Man.
It's like, I can't imagine just handing a check over and be like, here you go, dude.
Yeah,
See you in
and-
20.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, let's say, because they could technically fund it with a check, almost all 401k rollovers are funded by a check from the employee's company when they leave. But the check is always made payable to whoever the custodian is. So it'll be made payable to Charles Schwab Institutional or Fidelity Institutional for the benefit of, and then your name, okay? And so that's how they know to designate it's going into your IRA account. Problems happen, meaning fraud happens. I mean, if you've ever watched the documentary on Bernie Madoff, have y'all ever seen that? It's very interesting. And the biggest thing that jumped out right away was people were literally just writing checks into this guy's personal name. Okay? Yeah. If you ever
See,
have
that's in my mind. That's how I thought it worked.
If you ever have an advisor, especially if they call themselves a fiduciary, right? No, that should never happen. Even financial planning fees that you pay me to do financial planning, they're not made out to my name personally. They're made out to the name of the company.
Which is your name? What's
No,
your?
it's,
No, I'm just kidding.
it's Wootten Financial
I know,
Group,
I know.
Inc.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Actually, the entity that handles that is Game Plan Advisors, Inc.
Oh.
But we market under the same common umbrella. So
Because that's the unknown to me when it came to that step,
yeah,
and so it's just funny. I wonder how it worked.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's not too. I mean, it's not too complicated. It's pretty simple.
or a briefcase full
For
of cash.
some people, some
Now
people
that
it's
that would be a
complicated.
problem.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
because that is
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
well. I mean, you say that, but it's happened.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, it's happened. People have brought in really large sums of cash trying to, but that's why we
Hurry.
go through like anti-money laundering training and things like that, because that's a huge red flag from a money laundering standpoint. And if somebody brought in like a briefcase full of $50,000 in cash, I would have to immediately report that.
Yeah, see, that's what's so wild to me. There's like a threshold with that. I think it's like 10 grand.
Yeah,
It's like if you bring 10 grand anywhere, like cash,
yeah.
unless you're like if you go to Gullo Ford, I think they have to report that.
Yeah, our firm, regardless of what the payment is for, I don't take cash. It's just not.
Do you have a sign? No shirt, no shoes, no cash.
No cash. I don't. Maybe I need one. It hasn't happened very often. Most people will use a credit card, debit card,
Yeah.
write a check, that kind of thing. But yeah, I've only had people bring cash a couple of times in all the years I've been there.
Tell Richard how it is working with me.
I bet it's just like
do you
doing
mean?
it's just like doing the show with you. You learn something you see, I told you she's the litmus test
For
anything.
okay.
So it's like anything that could go wrong, Cindy will find the crack. And I'll be like, all right, I need to change this process. I need to change this because Cindy just taught me something new today.
There you go.
And that's I bet you made so much money off her just by experience, because you're like, hey, this is how we should handle clients from now on. Because Miss Cindy over here has taught us that.
See, he's dealing with a completely total opposite personality than he did with Sam.
Oh, I love it.
Sam was the one that found him and Craig.
Well, the real question is, how many butt dials have you gotten?
Not very many.
I mean, I've gotten a hand. Well, my favorite is when she calls and I talk to her, and then 5 minutes later she calls again, and I'm like, it's a butt dial. It's got to be a butt dial. Like, we literally just talked on the phone. What does she want to talk about now?
I mean, it's fine, mainly because, we've walked through the process you're going through many, many, many times, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's that type of a situation where the spouse kind of handled everything. And so, the wife comes in and she's got to kind of start from scratch. And so it's being familiar with the process, but also taking the time to try to educate you as we go through.
Right.
And I know that you're not going to necessarily understand everything we talk about, but I still like to go through the exercise because you know how it is.
One day I'll go, oh, you said that a week ago. Yeah, that's the same. Oh, yeah. And the light goes on, but it hadn't yet.
Well,
but,
so that's like when Alicia mentioned to me, by the way, for those that are listening, Alicia is our front desk assistant. She'll be the one you talk to if you're.
That's who we should have in the studio and ask her that question.
Alicia, oh, she's so good.
She
but
is.
And she is his wall of protection.
She's the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I mean, if your
not
name's
gonna
on the
get to-
wall, you got to have a gate.
Yeah, and she keeps it because she's come in there and go, could he have just a few minutes? Well, he has a call now, and then he's got another call, and then he's got to go to. So let me try and call you back. I'll talk to him and I'll call you back. Okay, bye. And but she is so sweet and so understanding. It's wonderful. Yeah. She is really good.
When she told me after you came in the other day,
yeah,
and she told me you were wanting a copy of. And she tried to describe it, and I'm in my mind, I'm going, I couldn't remember what I had put up on the screen with you. And so she was like, she wanted to get a printout of this or that, and I was like, she was paying attention. She remembered that there was something on the screen. I'm so happy. I was so happy that it wasn't just kind of like, woo, you're pretending to pay attention type of deal. So yeah. I got kind of excited.
I even put my glasses on. I'm trying. And he's got this huge 86-inch TV that I'm looking at, and I'm trying to understand what he's telling me. And so I want you to think that I'm understanding what you're telling me, but I thought, he has gone through this, and if I can just get a copy of that, then I can sit and, and have it up to here and read it. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. No, that's what he's talking about.
Remind me after the show, and we'll ferret out.
Okay.
What it is that you need, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about you coming on, and I was going to suggest to you just to do a pilot program with Cindy. Is she hasn't learned how to budget personally, right? So what we need to do is we need to go to like a local bank, and I'll be like, hey, we need to open an account for a child, and it has a limitation budget. You know what I'm talking? They used to have. I don't know if they still have those.
Yes.
It's like we're going to give her a debit card, and this is.
And they give her their little metal piggy bank to.
Yeah. And it's like, here you go, and this is how we're going to budget. I think that would be the greatest.
Budgeting.
In fairness to Cindy,
yeah,
the last meeting that she came into, she actually had an expense sheet that she had been tracking. All of her expenses.
Proud of you.
I was very.
Was it on a notepad
on
or
a big
was
tablet.
it?
No,
it was just
an Indian
written
big
on
tablet.
a note tablet.
Yeah.
But the point is, she had made the effort to track it.
Yeah.
And so I'd give you a hand right now. But
I was so proud of myself for doing that, and
it's very good.
And I knew the date was coming up, and I couldn't remember when I was supposed to meet with you. And I'm going like, when is this supposed to be? I gotta get this.
She even had the revenue side. She had all of her income sources. She listed all of her expenses that she had
There
come
you
up
go.
with. Yeah.
And so the expense line went like this, and the revenue went like this, and I went, how can we fix this
Yeah, it
so
was
that
revenue, expenses.
Well, I mean,
DoorDash, McDonald's. Oh, it was
Yeah.
terrible.
wait, I was just afraid she's going to get scammed. That's my biggest fear for Cindy. It's like, I even told her that after she's talking about getting, what is it called, solar stuff. I was like, Cindy, if you're spending X amount more than like $100, you need to call Chris or something. You know,
Yes.
like there should be a
Yeah,
rule.
We had the solar conversation.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No, when she immediately told me about it, I was like, "Oh, you poor girl! Like those people are sharks, or they can be, and
Yes.
especially the welcome wagon. When you tell me there's a welcome wagon, I'm like, get out of here with that, because
It was, I've got I have to call Chad first, then Paul, and then when they say call Chris, then I'll call you, because they may know, like be able to say, don't do anything. But Chad has just told me, don't answer the door. Just don't go and answer the door. If somebody, unless it's us or we're banging on it, don't answer the door. And listen to Maddie's bark. When she barks and she comes up and she looks at the person and she starts calming down, don't open the door, because it's just they know, she knows better than you know. Don't open the door. And it's true. It is so true, because I've gotten myself into
yeah, I mean, he literally said that dog is smarter than you.
it. It is
Your own son said that
yeah.
to you.
It
This
is.
dog has a better judge of character.
Yeah. There's a certain bark it gets.
course
And
it
I said, you know what, though? If it gets, when she starts that barking and she's right at the door and the people are still standing there, going like, waiting. And so I open the door and have her teeth showing first. And I'm trying to hold her back. And they go like, oh, I guess this isn't a good time. I went, no, it's not. And then I closed the door. Chad said, don't even do that. Just let that dog bark and just walk away, let it bark. But don't open the door to anybody.
Yeah.
And that's hard. It's like I hadn't been in a neighborhood for so long.
Yeah.
And so if anybody comes to the door, it's always somebody wants to sell you, a new driveway.
Right.
And all that. So and Sam would go, it'd be ringing. I said, are you going to answer the door? And he says, I don't do doors.
Well, especially out there, I don't understand how anyone's brave enough to walk up to a house like that.
Yeah.
That's wild to me.
It is.
Sitting
And
on acreage.
Yeah, and it's like you don't walk up to a house like that.
no, in fact, there's a guy who was an intel officer, Navy, big deal, makes his own guns and builds and everything. Sam is a gun collector. Sam was a gun collector, and then there was a guy that was an officer of the worst ilk of humankind, and he has all his gun stuff, and the guy across the street is also an officer, and so that we were so safe because there's so many people around there that
You worried about an uprising or something?
I think that's what it was.
Like,
It's
what are you
like
talking
every-
about?
Be the safest
So
street
the
in Montgomery
Yeah,
County.
it's like, what are you talking about here?
It really felt like that, but it was but all of them had no one would know it. I mean, it just was like a regular
Yeah.
neighborhood. But then when you start talking to them and they start talking together and start talking about, what do you have? And they're like, so good, that's so good. And the type of guns and stuff that they had, they've all collected. And from being in the police force and in military and all that, they're just loaded up for bear. So it did feel like, okay, we're
Well,
we're
you
good.
mentioned something really valid, because, I mean, scams are a big deal nowadays.
Yes.
I think we've had two of our clients within the last, I'm going to say year, 12 to 18 months, something like that fell victim to Bitcoin scams. Where
Bitcoin
they
scams.
suckered them out of going and either transferring cash or allowing them to access their home computer because they supposedly had a virus on it, and then through that process they got were able to access their bank account. I mean, they're so sophisticated. And, you know, I'm sitting there going, okay, if someone called me and they told me this story, I'd be like, whatever, dude, you know. Yeah, this is a scam, right?
Let me call you right
back. But if
back.
you're not used to reading about those kind of things on
Right.
a daily basis, and we send emails out to our clients, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when we hear about them or we come across them, or if our IT vendors are letting us know about the most, you know, recent stuff that's out there, we'll send them out to our client base just to say, hey, you know, if you're not 100% sure, if there's even an inkling of a question, right, just don't do it. It's not worth it.
Well,
and I think I told you this story, Cindy, like even when it comes from the federal government, it still seems like a scam.
Yeah.
Because I told you about that like probably a month ago. I got an email from the I think not the FTC, but basically I bought shoes on the internet from a company, and they did some weird practice where like they weren't delivering the shoes and they were giving gift cards, and then something about the money, like the money was never returned. So when they give you instead of giving your money back, they give you a gift card.
Okay.
And, you know, some people don't use gift cards, so really they're not really losing out on all the cash. So I got something happened. Well, basically, I got $54, and it was the government telling me, hey, you were during this time period, you get $54. To redeem it, you got to go through PayPal. And I'm like, why do I have to go through PayPal? That's weird. And I was like, why am I getting this email? And so I look it up, and it was a real story from them, from the FTC or something like that.
Interesting.
And I was like, to protect myself, because I was like, this has got to be a scam. I mean, this is so weird. So I created an all new PayPal account that's not connected to anything. And then boom, there was $54 in the account. So I let it sit there for like 3 weeks, just like seeing if they would take it out. After a while, they realized the ruse is up or something.
Yeah.
And then it was still there. And so I was like, that's weird. Mail me a check. And then like they can mail the PayPal will mail you a check for like $1.
Wow.
So I was like, because I'm not putting my bank account connected to this
Yeah, no
account.
doubt.
I was like, but I'll get $53 for free.
Yeah.
Why not?
but you know, you're sitting there and
But it still looked like a scam, and it was
phone-
from the government.
your phone rings.
I probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Your phone rings and it's a 512, and you're like, "That's Austin." I don't know. I don't know what the prefix is that's coming through there. Is that they'll call back? That's the same what I always say. He says, "Look, if it's something, they'll call back. They'll leave a message or something
Yeah,
like
and
that."
you can't even always go by that anymore because they can use ghost accounts.
Yes,
Right?
yes,
So
that's right.
They can make it look like they're calling from a local number when in fact they're, you know, calling from Jamaica, right? I mean, it's
Well, and
which
they
is, believe it or not, is one of the biggest scam capitals in the world.
and they do have horrible things that come up on the screen that make you think that something's wrong and that there's an emergency and that you've got to find out. So you open up your phone, and that's what Sam and them just. I mean, Chad and them are just so worried that something's going to really go wrong, go bad. And I went, we're in a gated community where this is like this. He said, okay. Remember who rented the house right before you bought the house? Remember the picture of him in the jumpsuit from the jail? So it's people, they're bad people. You just got to watch your back. You got to be careful and all that. So we did have.
Sometimes bad people like gated communities because it keeps the bad people that are after them out. So.
That's right. That's true. That's a good point. Chris, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
I know we probably didn't get to talk as much. You have to come back again and again.
Sure.
Okay.
Anytime.
Okay, that's awesome because you're so good. But tomorrow we have. No, wait. Let me. Rick is his first name Rick?
No,
No, is
not even close.
his last name's Lozano.
Yes.
Okay, there you
So
go.
I'm impressed with that.
Alex Lozano is going to be on, and he is finding new talent or talent that needs to be, gets promoted and all that. And he brings them in, and they play and they sing and all that. So he's going to come in and talk about how he goes out and finds these people and all that. So that's fun. And then, drum roll, please, Bob Smiley's going to be on Thursday, and so everybody get ready for that. And this is when I asked Bob, can I still give you Cane's? Will you want Cane's food? Can I still bring that to you because you've gotten so famous and so popular? And he goes, no, lobster bisque would be actually preferred. And so we're going to have a talk about that because he's going to get, okay, you are. Listen, we love you, first responders. Thank you so much. And somebody, call somebody you know.
Every week, people ask the same two questions. Are they ready to retire? Will their savings last for their lifetimes? Hi, this is Chris Wootton with Wootten Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these two questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, one-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootten Financial Group's process in helping their clients to a clearer financial future and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran Show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootten Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootten Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952 or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com.
This program is sponsored by the Wootten Financial Group. It is not the intent of Wootten Financial Group to render or offer personalized investment advice or financial planning advice through this radio program or any related website. Wootten Financial Group's participation in this program is limited to providing general information on financial matters and should not be construed as financial recommendation or investment advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Game Plan Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the state of Texas. Insurance services are offered through Wootten Financial Group, Inc. Game Plan Advisors and Wootten Financial Group, Inc. are affiliated through common ownership, and neither firm is affiliated with The Cindy Cochran Show. No listener should assume that any information presented and or made available on this program serves as the receipt of or a substitute for personalized individual advice from Game Plan Advisors, Wootten Financial Group, or any of their representatives.
Path to the Plate is a research-based education program that helps consumers understand how their food choices impact their health by making the connection to agriculture, learning about how food is grown and produced, and how consumers can make better food choices for themselves and their families. Path to the Plate is all about dispelling myths and misconceptions. Find out more online at pathtotheplate.tamu.edu. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information,